An emerging technology, is that what people still think the cloud is, an emerging technology? Is a network graphic from 10 years ago with physical routers, switches, servers, PCs, and then just under 10 years ago we started accessing AWS or Amazon Web Services, and we've been accessing files and loading files onto it, or just storing files of a low comparative data value for nearly 10 years. Gmail, that's another cloud service that most people will be familiar with, and that's as far as some people will ever go with utilising the cloud. If you played word association outside of any office today or business park and you offered up the words hybrid cloud, public cloud, private cloud, the word you'd get back would be security. Well, believe me that these modern cloud vendors, Microsoft with Azure, Amazon Web Services, Rackspace, they spend hundreds of thousands of pounds a year employing top security professionals to keep your data up and running. Their reputation is built on your trust of their security. If Microsoft suffered a major breach and it was in the headlines and people migrated over to Amazon, then over a period of time it could cost Microsoft billions of pounds, and they're not going to let that happen, which is why they spend hundreds of thousands of pounds keeping it online. And again, people are unsure about what a cloud service actually is. Yet what is the cloud? It's not an IT infrastructure orbiting the upper atmosphere. If you access files on a cloud server or load files onto it, you're accessing a server that's in an office, that's in a building, that's in a city, that's ultimately connected to the internet. And if that sounds identical to your own server location, then you're absolutely right. They're all located in offices that are connected to the internet. It's just that these large vendors spend hundreds of thousands of pounds making sure that the data is up and live and secure. People seem still unsure about what they mean by hybrid cloud. Some people consider it to be just a private cloud, the use of a private cloud, maybe even beyond your own firewall, or a public cloud service, or the use of a shared cloud computing service, plus your on-premise IT infrastructure. Whatever it is, you have to start thinking about the utilisation or migration to the cloud for money-saving aspects alone, because if you don't, your competition will. These modern cloud systems are so powerful now that it is now possible to mirror your entire IT infrastructure, although again that's not strictly cloud computing, because all you're doing is just creating a copy of, or you can just back up your group policy, again not strictly cloud computing, but it's good to take advantage of what's there, or you can go to the next step and create an entire SharePoint farm. Here are your modern virtual networks with your SharePoint farm. Each of these servers has their own permissions to allow certain computers on the networks to access only certain files, just like on your modern on-premise IT equipment. And the computers likewise only have certain permissions to access certain files and folders and certain servers, again identical to your on-premise IT equipment. The difference is that this is virtual, and the cost for the outlay for this entire virtual SharePoint farm and virtual network was minimal. It's just the time taken for the theoretical planning and the implementation via the software. Again, the money saving aspects alone, you've got to think about using it. Theoretical planning again takes us on to another really exciting part of the cloud computing, and that is virtual networks. If you are thinking about expanding your business to another geographical location, or maybe even the building next door, 10 years ago you could have spent £10,000 easily. You would have got routers, switches, cables, plus the time it took for your IT executives to fully configure the routers and switches individually. you would have spent £10,000 before your new staff even turn up for the very first Monday. But with correct planning, with a cloud service, you can have a VPN compatible router. You can find and replace certificates within the files to connect to the virtual network. You can configure the virtual network with subnets and DHCP and have the network configured, and within a morning it's live and you can have a long lunch. And the cost for the physical infrastructure was minimal. It was just the one VPN compatible router. That alone should make people think about cloud utilization or migration. All businesses have budgets, and you'll be wasting some of your budget if you're still spending it on old physical IT infrastructure, replacing that hard drive from your Active Directory server 2012 that has failed again and you haven't backed up to any of the private or public cloud services. Theoretical planning is something else that can take time with all cloud services, so now is the time to start thinking about your migration, or at least minimal uptake. But that's the end of this video. If you want to leave any comments or questions below, this is Roger's Classes and I'm Roger at Sysnet Solutions.